YouTube later. So thank you so much again. My name is Thomas Heimann, and I'm the founder and CEO of Realty Partners. And this training session is, initially I thought about putting this up just for our agents, and I decided, given the things that are happening right now and how they really impact everyone, to instead make this available to every real estate agent out there. So I promoted the webinar. I imagine that quite a few people that are on here right now are from other companies as well. And I welcome you and thank you for taking the time to join us. We're all partners in success in this industry, and we're all dealing with the same issues. Now, myself, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've always looked at challenging circumstances as an opportunity. And as a result, I have mixed feelings about what's going on right now. Obviously, right now, I'm working from my home office. My wife and I are self-quarantining here, and I'm grateful that I'm able to do this work from my home office. But I always look at, okay, what's the current scenario, and what does this mean? What could this mean, and what could be the opportunity at the tail end? And those of you that have been in the business for a while, you understand that, especially with respect to the real estate industry, we go through these cycles. In the 80s, we had the savings and loan crisis, which crushed the real estate industry. Then in 2008, 9, 10, we had the mortgage crisis that melted down everything. And generally speaking, when you have a crisis at the horizon, people go through some stages. At first, people will ridicule. And I remember in February when I started warning people about what is about to come with respect to this coronavirus crisis, that people were making fun of me. And so ridicule is the natural first step, and then it's followed by denial. And people just pretend that it's not so bad, it's not going to happen. It won't happen to us. Maybe it's going to take down Italy and France and Spain and Switzerland and Austria and Germany, but it's not going to somehow miraculously affect us. And then eventually there's this acceptance, and then finally what the F just happened. And so we're going through those stages right now. We're like in between denial and acceptance as a culture in this country right now. This reminds me very much of what took place in the mortgage crisis. If you remember, anyone that suggested that you should not overextend yourself and pull equity out of your home to buy some condo conversions thought you were insane, you were crazy, you didn't understand things. Real estate will never crash. It's never gone down more than 2 or 3%, and it's only local in some areas. And that was the Kool-Aid that everyone drank. And then when things crashed, the realtor associations actually were repositioning it in order to avoid a panic amongst the realtor members, because of course they wanted them to pay the dues. They came up with this "It's Time to Buy" campaign here in Sarasota. Everyone on this webinar watching this is most likely in Florida, a lot of you in Sarasota. And so they launched, you might remember that, the "It's Time to Buy" campaign, which really, in hindsight, was the worst thing ever. That was not the time to buy. The time to buy at that time was akin to trying to catch a falling knife. And a lot of people got hurt with that as well. And so myself, I am someone that is not going to sugarcoat things. And as we go through the session here today, I'm going to look at, okay, what are we really dealing with right now? What is this going to mean to you? It might be a wake-up call. And then what can you do right now for yourself, for your business, and what are the opportunities that will open up in the months and years to come? So you all are familiar with the story of, if you stick a frog into a pot of boiling water, the frog is going to jump right out. If you put a frog in a pot of cold water and then you slowly bring it up to a boil, the frog is going to boil to death, it's going to die. And so, when you look at the news cycle, what's coming out from the government, how they have been presenting this, And this has nothing to do with politics, but the first and foremost intent was not to have mass scale panics among the population. They don't want the frogs to jump out of the water. They want the frogs to stay in the water so they can get acclimated. And so, you see things initially, it wasn't so bad. It's going to resolve itself. We're well prepared. To now we have, the call for a 15-day isolation, and we're going to close down restaurants and bars and shops only for a couple of weeks, and which of course is a lot easier to digest than to say we're going to close everything down for the next 3 months. And so that's what's happening right now, gradually getting people used to what's coming and how bad it is, and instead of shocking the system and shocking people and causing widespread mass panic, it's going to be introduced slowly. And I guarantee to you that this 2 weeks will last to 4 weeks, will become 2 months, will become 3 months. It's going to be a while until we get out of this curve. I would imagine at least 3 to 4 months minimum. And so what we're dealing right now is really a mass shutdowns. Germany today is going to declare that they're having a mass shutdown similar to what we have in France and in Italy and in Switzerland and Austria and other countries. New York City is contemplating this. It is coming. It will come to Florida. Right now they're putting limits on how many people can be in a bar or restaurant. Within a few days, they're going to just declare that they need to be shut down. And so it's going to get pretty bad. Right now we have about 200 cases in Florida. It's growing rapidly, about 20 to 30% per day. If you look at Italy, about 3 weeks ago, they had about 200 cases in Italy. Today they have over 30,000 cases. So this is growing exponentially. And the need for social distancing is to slow down that explosive growth. And of course, people aren't paying attention. They think, I'm young, I'm going to be okay. I don't have an old person at home, so I don't have to do anything. And of course, they don't realize that it's not them or who they might infect, but it's who that person might infect, who that person might infect, and that person might infect someone that has a medical issue and is at risk. So this is a real wake-up call. The Feds have dropped interest rates to 0. They're working on schemes to put money into every person's pocket, so to speak. Massive government bailout programs. They're looking at setting up special purpose entities to actually have the Fed buy private papers, meaning corporate bonds, meaning lending money to businesses to keep them afloat. These are all unprecedented actions that are being taken for unprecedented circumstances. So anyone that thinks that this is just like another flu, or it's going to go away, it's not so bad, it's only going to last a couple of weeks, these kind of actions would not be taken if that was the case. The truth is, we're not going to know how bad it gets until it's here. Okay, so we need to prepare for the worst. And what does that mean with respect to your business? Well, you got to make sure, number one, that you are taken care of first, you and your family. And right now is the time where you need to ask yourself, what's the most important thing that I can do for my business right now, here today? And recognize that the biggest enemy is uncertainty, because we don't know how bad it's going to get. So everyone is taking stabs into the dark, guessing what will happen. We cannot trust any of the numbers that are coming out of China. So really, the best thing to look at right now are places like Italy, Spain, France, Germany, how they're responding, how the numbers are growing. And of course, Florida is a very high-risk area because of our very large elderly population that are obviously at a greatest risk. And but uncertainty is a killer. People may want to get out of contracts if they can. They're going to find a way. They may even take the loss and risk losing their escrow deposit because they don't want to take action in the sense of uncertainty. Most people are not investors that are looking at this with a long-term investment type of horizon. And if you are an investor, you know it's going to get bloody before it gets better. So if you think you're going to get a great deal today, you're most certainly going to get a much better deal 3 months from now. So, so uncertainty right now will paralyze a lot of people. That includes your customers, your buyers and sellers. And it's basically creating a lot of fear in the marketplace. And as things worsen, you know, if there's a lockdown and people cannot leave the house except to go to a grocery store or to the pharmacy, I seriously doubt that sellers will want to have a lot of people traipsing through their house to look at properties, and or that buyers want to go onto traditional home tours and visit homes and look at homes. So this will result in a slowdown. There's going to be a drastic change in consumer behavior. You know, our Treasury Secretary yesterday mentioned that this could lead to mass unemployment, as high as 20% unemployment, which is just something that we cannot fathom. We're talking about the Great Depression, that type of economic environment. So that's what's coming, and you need to prepare yourself for it. So let's focus on, you know, what happens in a recession generally and what you can do about it, because anytime there is crisis, there is opportunity. Actually, the Chinese, you know, they have a symbol for opportunity, and crisis plus danger equals opportunity. So keep that in mind. When I look back at the meltdown of 2008, 2009, 2010, a lot of people got out of business, out of the real estate business. A lot of brokers went belly up. A lot of agents went belly up. And then there were those that focused on the opportunity at hand and did incredibly well, doing short sales, doing REOs, or if they're, you know, working with investors, you know, doing investments themselves, syndicating people if they didn't have any money themselves, finding people that had money to put together deals, partnerships, to pursue investments. So there are always opportunities to pursue, and that's what I really want to focus on moving forward. So what are the you know, 3 things you can do right now? And I'm going to focus on this in 2 chunks. What you can do right now, and what are some of the opportunities that will most likely present themselves at the tail end of this. Because make no mistake, no matter how bad this is going to get, no matter how paralyzing this is going to get, it is going to be temporary, okay? The Great Depression was temporary. The Great Recession was temporary. The Spanish flu of 1918 was temporary. So this is not something that is going to last. We're going to get out of this. And the question is, how do you position yourself when we get out of this? And what are you going to do in the meantime? Because you don't have any control. I don't have any control over what goes on around us right now. We have 0 control over what's happening with this pandemic. We have 0 control over what's happening with the economy. The only thing that we can do is, number 1, protect ourselves, be smart, and make sure that we, A, don't get sick, and B, don't contribute to the sickness of others and the spread of the disease. And then, you know, with respect to our business, focus on what can we do right now to maximize our opportunity, and what can we do at the tail end instead of being paralyzed. So you want to be busy, you want to take action. So let's talk about what you can do right now. The first thing you want to do is streamline and adjust your business. So the minimum thing you want to do is eliminate any and all expenditures that are not absolutely essentials. You just need to use gazelle intensity, which one of the financial coaches that I worked with a long time ago, Dave Ramsey, you know, we were at a point in time, my wife and I, right around the crash of 2008, we lost a couple $1 million in some businesses. We had bought a lot of bad investments, but I decided, you know what, I'm not going to file for bankruptcy. We're going to get out of this. We're going to get out ahead. And so we did two things. Number one, we protected the cash that we had. We didn't do any kind of frivolous spending. We literally went to rice and beans, and we focused on getting out of debt and knocking everything out. So he uses that term gazelle intensity, where you just really get super incredibly intense. And that's what we did. And we are totally debt free at this point still, and intend to be that way. And we're financially free. But you need to apply something like that. You need to take a red pen and cut out anything and everything in your personal life. If you have maids, if you have cleaners, if you have subscriptions to crap that you don't need, just cut it out. And the same thing on your business side. You got to run a super, super lean ship, because what are you going to do if you have zero income for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months? Okay, that's a very, very real possibility. And you may or may not qualify for disaster relief. You're not a W-2 employee that might get special unemployment benefits. So you got to look after your finances. Number two, you have to learn how to use technology to do video tour showings. You know, Redfin is a company that has always very much impressed me, because at the very leading edge of technology, they were the first real estate company to introduce map searches back in 2006 or thereabouts, and then everyone followed suit. And they've done a lot of things that later were, you know, emulated by other companies, kind of like Mercedes-Benz inventing things like the airbag and seatbelt and so forth, that then get adopted by other car makers throughout. So they actually have a neat thing right now where people can schedule virtual showings on their website, and you can do the same thing. Basically what it means is that instead of doing a home tour with your buyer and going to 2, 3, 4 properties that they want to see, you go there by yourself, and using FaceTime or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger video calling, you go ahead and show them the property and talk to them, and, you know, zoom in wherever they want to look, with them being safely at home and you being at the property, showing them the property. So you can do the very same thing. You want to use those type of technologies to, number one, set yourself apart, and also put your buyers at ease. You know, if there are some homes that you would like to see, I can show you these homes if you have a smartphone or an iPad, and I'll be there with you. It's not a recorded video. I'm going to be there live with you, and you can see everything that you would see if you were there in person, but you don't have to be there in person. Another thing is, if you are a listing agent, you want to take a look at your listing inventory and the presentation of those listings. I think especially in this day and age where potential buyers need to be able to get the best possible view and impression of the property without going into the property themselves, you have to use 3D virtual tours. So you want to use Matterport 3D virtual tours or something similar. Matterport does have the best platform out there, and a lot of photographers utilize that. And you want to have floor plans for your listings. If you know, some other 3D technology does not provide floor plans, Home Depot has a service where for $99 they'll come out, they measure the whole thing, and they create drawings and floor plans. But Matterport 3D will do that for you, both 2D and 3D floor plans as part of the service. And you want to reach out to lenders and find out what is happening with respect to electronic closing. So one thing that Redfin does is offer the ability for buyers to purchase a home directly themselves without an agent, in essence, all done online. And you can do the same thing for your buyers. Most of you are already using electronic signatures. So offers can be made, counter offers can be made, the entire deal can be worked without anyone having to actually have a face-to-face interaction. So you can be socially distancing and still get deals done. And as you may know, in January here in Florida, electronic closings, e-closings, went into effect in theory. So the law now provides for e-closings, and I say in theory because those attorneys and title companies that are ready to do e-closings can't do e-closings if the lender is not supporting e-closings. So I would touch base with your lenders that you work with and find out if they're doing e-closings, when they will be doing e-closings. I would imagine that at least the big ones are going to accelerate that process. So definitely make sure you check in with representatives for Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Quicken Loans, and others, because if you're able to offer a completely integrated online closing experience where you can say to your buyer and seller, you can close the entire transaction, not just write the offer and contract, but the entire transaction online without having to meet with a notary in person, that is going to be a huge, huge benefit. And so spend some time asking yourself, how can I make this work in a frictionless way for my customers? Right now, there are still transactions taking place. People would right now still be willing to close and enter into agreements if they felt confident that they can do it without having to go into a busy title office, without having to meet with a bunch of people that may or may not be effective, especially when you have, in a retirement community like we have here, older people that are looking to relocate to Florida, or older people that are selling a home to make a move. If you're able to facilitate this in a virtual fashion, then this could be a huge step up. Another thing that you could do with e-closings is not a possibility, and you represent an agent as a single agent. You have to check with your broker about that. This is something that your broker will determine, but at least as a temporary solution, you could have either yourself or someone in the company or a trusted person become an attorney in fact, have a power of attorney executed so you can take care of things on behalf of the buyer and seller, so they don't have to have any physical interaction with anyone. Of course, that creates a lot of additional liability, so make sure that you check with your broker. Another thing that you want to do is stay on top of technology developments. There are a lot of technologies right now that may be advanced rapidly. One of them is, for example, showings on demand. There are companies out there right now that are pioneering frictionless methods to sell or purchase a home. And on-demand showings is one of those tools in the tool bag. And I would look to companies offering smart door locks or combo door locks, electronic lock boxes that a buyer can open with an app after they have been vetted and their identity has been verified and the background check has been run through the app provider. So this is something that could work especially for vacant homes where you don't have to interact with the buyer. The buyer is going to be vetted, their identity is verified, and they can just go to the home when it's available, unlock it themselves, go inside and preview the home, and so it's one more step towards that frictionless type of transactions. There are companies right now that are pioneering electronic escrow handling so that there's no need to get a physical check and take that check to your broker or your title company, or taking the risk of having wire fraud take place. Over $100 million each year in the United States are lost to wire fraud. So so a lot of these type of services are coming online very, very quickly, and you want to stay ahead of that curve. The best way to do that is, in my opinion, through Inman. You want to be a subscriber to Inman Select, so you get your daily news updates. There's some sponsored posts, of course, too, but you also get a lot of industry news coverage. And right now, Inman is actually offering a 90-day free trial. Most associations, like GTAR, for example, or Miami, or Aura, I believe, offer free membership to Inman Select, so you want to check with your association. But if your association does not offer it, the free trial is a great way to stay in the loop. So again, streamlining and adjusting your business is the first thing that you can do. The second thing that you can do right now is working on your skill set. You're going to have extra time on your hand, and you really want to use that time for two things. Number one, learning and growing, learning new skills, learning new technology, taking courses, practicing scripts. Use tools like Zoom and practice scripts and listing presentations and buyer presentations with other agents in your company or with other agents in the industry, friends that you know. Become familiar with tools like FaceTime, which of course only works for people that use Apple, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Signal. There are a lot of messenger applications that you can use to have live video calls. And so you want to become familiar with them and really upgrade your skill base. Use the time effectively to become more proficient as a professional. Learn about contracts. See what kind of online trainings are available at your local Realtor association. Most Realtor associations have literally hundreds of training classes that are online that you can take, that you can subscribe to. The second thing is leads. You want to focus a tremendous amount of time on lead generation, working your sphere, following up with people that you've done business with in the past. Start by creating a list in your CRM that has every single person that you've ever done business with, as well as a list of your sphere. Create a list of your 100 people that you have done business with or known, people that in church, people in clubs, your barber, your hairdresser, the person that does your nails. What is your sphere? And then take time to reach out to those people, not to sell them something. I wouldn't call them and say, hey, you're doing my hair, been doing my hair for the last 10 years, and I don't know if you know that I'm a real estate professional. I just want to let you know, if you're ever looking to buy or sell a home, please think of me. If you do that, you might as well just save your time. The purpose of your calls have to be to create relationships. So when I say leads, you want to create relationships with the leads that you have. Because again, a lot of people right now are not looking to make a purchase. A lot of them are just looking to figure out what the hell is going on here and how's it going to affect me, and they're scared to death that they don't know how to pay their bills or what's going to happen. And so this is a fantastic opportunity for you to reach out to them and say, hey, we've been doing business for some time, and I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that you've been on my thoughts, and if there's anything that I can do, let me know. How you're holding up, and just have them talk, and then just touch base with them, check in with them every couple of weeks, and just say, or maybe even once a week if you have a great relationship, and just say, how are things going, how you're holding up, what are you doing, and you really create an extended family in a sense. And these people know that you're in the business, and they will appreciate it, and they will think of you when it is time to make a move. This is the time to create relationships. And I got to give a quick shout out to John Wilshire, a super successful agent here in the Sarasota market. I don't know if he's on this call or not, but he does apparently a monthly newsletter, and he did one a few days ago that he shared where he really didn't know what to talk to them about with respect to the market, and so he just completely changed the conversation and said, hey, if there's anything that you need help with, cutting your lawn, doing a grocery run, whatever it may be, let me know. I'm here to help. Okay. So if you have someone that is elderly and maybe they're not familiar that they can use Instacart to get the groceries delivered, maybe you can walk them through some of those things. Maybe even take care of something for them. Maybe even order something for them. These are great times to create relationships and bonds that will pay dividends long time after this crisis will have passed. So again, you want to get on top of your finances. You want to streamline and adjust your current business because there are still buyers and sellers right now. Things haven't completely shut down yet. It might be different a month from now, but right now it's still there. And number two, you want to work on your skill set. And number three, you want to focus on leads, lead generation, follow-up, creating relationships, building relationships, And then, know that this is going to pay dividends later on. You cannot want them to do something right now. You don't want to be the guy that is screaming, the time is now to buy as the market is crashing, which happened back in 2009. That's not going to create raving fans for you. So let's talk about opportunities, though, how to thrive as we exit this situation. Because, once we get out of this coronavirus isolation, social distancing, quarantine phase, things are not going to be hunky-dory immediately. There's going to be a lot of people that are suffering. There are a lot of people that will be out of business. There will be a lot less competition, number one. A lot of agents will have washed out. So if you're a professional, this is going to be a good thing for you. But if you position yourself with your buyers and sellers during this crisis, then you will be positioned to strike when the iron is hot, when the crisis is over, because there will be a lot of pent-up demand. There's going to be uncertainty. Is now the time to make a move or not? Is it safe to go outside? Is it safe to look at properties? Is it safe to hold open houses? And so as things ease, especially if you've done your job right and you are familiar now with technology, that you can make this much more frictionless, this will be a time for you to start to sow the seeds and harvest. Along those lines, I would be fully prepared to take advantage not only of technology tools. I wouldn't spend any money right now, but I would know what's going on and be ready to hit the ground running when the time is right. But you also want to partner with companies like Opendoor and Zillow Offers. A lot of people are poo-pooing the whole thing. These iBuyers are trying to put us out of business, blah, 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 which I think is a bunch of nonsense. They are a valuable tool. If you have a seller right now that wants to sell, doesn't want to deal with all the crap, if you can help them with Opendoor or Zillow Offers to get out of their property now, then why wouldn't you do that? And so you want to partner with those providers and build them into your marketing plan, build them into your business plan, and utilize them whenever possible. Another thing that you need to learn and focus on, and that's going to present huge opportunities, in my belief, is distress sales, REOs, short sales, foreclosure mitigation, and you really want to brush up your skill set on that. I used to do a lot of trainings on short sale. I used to have the moniker Mr. Short Sales. I've literally done thousands of short sales. And I'm going to brush up my training course on short sales and post it online. I used to have a program called the Short Sale Money Machine. And you want to become familiar with these. We're not going to have the kind of mortgage banking crisis that we had in 2010, but there will be people that will lose their job, that can't pay their mortgage, that will fall behind on their payments, and that will go into foreclosure or pre-foreclosure, that you can then help, whether it is helping them with loan modifications or helping them with doing a short sale. These are great opportunities for you to position yourself to benefit from that market segment, that market opportunity that will without a doubt exist. It's not going to be as huge, in my opinion, as it was in 2010, where literally 75% of all transactions were short sales. But right now the percentage is tiny, maybe 1%. Let's say it goes up to 10 to 15%. You want to be familiar with that and have that in your tool chest to offer to your buyers and sellers. A couple of things to keep in mind and a couple of facts for you. Number one, when the market crashed, agents on average were still doing the same number of deals. What happened is that fewer agents were chasing fewer deals. So, you had the number of transactions crumble, obviously, and everything went down the short sale route or the REO route. And there were a lot fewer agents engaged in that field. So those agents that were proficient and were actually working the business were still doing transactions, whether it was doing short sales or whether it was doing REOs. There are some agents that were doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of REO transactions because they early identified that opportunity, became familiar with it, got onto the list with the banks, did broker price opinions for free basically. And then when the pendulum swung, they were ready and available to do this. The second fact is that those who focus on opportunities came out ahead strong, both in the S&L crisis as well as in the, let's just call it the meltdown of 2008 through 2010. Most people focus on the problem and they're like, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. I'm done. There's nothing I can do. Everything I did before stopped working. And life as I know it is over. Some people focus on the opportunities and ask themselves, okay, what does work? What is an opportunity in my marketplace right now? What are people doing that are doing deals? And each market area is going to have a different dynamic. So if you are in a retirement area, a new construction area, a vacation home rental area, an Airbnb type of area, a blue collar worker area, the dynamics and the needs of the market are going to be very different depending on what area you're in and what you're focusing on. But no matter what area you're in, if you ask yourself, what is the opportunity here for me right now in this market to better myself right now, this very moment, and what could be some of the opportunities in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months, and how can I be proactive and position myself for those opportunities? What do I need to learn today so that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I'm able to, meet those needs? What are some of the things that I need to stop doing right now in order to be able to pivot and shift? So what we focus on, we tend to bring about, we tend to attract, we tend to materialize. And so it's very, very important to go through that exercise. What I do myself, literally every day, I have a journal, and I'll sit down for 5, 10 minutes and just ask myself, what could be great about this? What kind of opportunities could this bring about? And just brainstorm with myself and just come up with, some crazy ideas. And then every once in a while, I'll go back, I'll star them if it's something that I think should be worthwhile. And if I think it's something really good, I'll put it into my Asana, which is my task management system, so I don't forget about it. And so I'll make that a daily habit, because what you focus on, you will create, and questions are incredibly powerful. So don't ask, why did this happen? Don't ask, why has this happened to me? Don't ask, how come this is happening to us? Or how come the government isn't doing this? Or how come so-and-so isn't doing that? Ask yourself, okay, what can I do for myself right now today? What can I do to ensure that I and my family are taken care of? What can I do for my business right now? What can I do in the future? What kind of opportunities could this mean for my buyers, for my sellers? And if you do that, and you do that on a consistent basis, you will be in the 1% that is going to harvest opportunities as we come out of that. So myself, and this is not just within the company, but myself, I really want to do my part to help real estate agents at large in general. So starting March 30th, I'm going to host daily training programs. I'm going to host a lot of them myself, but I'm also inviting other coaches, trainers, leaders within our company and other companies to deliver content so that you are able to spend at least an hour every day to proactively learn something to grow your skill set, So we're going to focus on two things you can do right now in your business, skill set, technology tools, knowledge, things you can do to pivot right now while you're sitting at home. And then also number two, identifying opportunities. You know, what are some of the things that will be fabulous opportunities as we pull out of this, and how can you present yourself, you know, prepare yourself for that. So if you haven't done yet, please like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Realty Partners LLC, and make sure that you follow us. Also go on to the YouTube channel that we have, which is youtube.com/Realty Partners LLC. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the little bell so you get notified. And when we do these trainings, because we're always having problems with Facebook live streaming, for some reason streaming to YouTube works so much better. We're going to stream these sessions to YouTube. We're going to announce them on Facebook as an event so people can register for these events, can join those events. We're talking right now to Zoom to actually increase the capacity of simultaneous viewers on those events. Right now we're limited to 100, but we want to increase that and bring that up. And so we're going to have these events posted not only for our agents, but for any real estate agent in general. And on top of that, I'm going to continue with my Real Estate Success 2020 series, and I'm going to up that game a little bit and try to do a daily short video, 2-3 minutes, that I'm going to put on all the different channels that we have, just to give you an idea, you know, something you could think about today to start your day in a different mindset, or something you could work on today to take your business in a different direction. So before I wrap this up, feel free to ask questions. I'm going to look at the comments right now. There's also a Q&A feature where you can raise your hand and ask a question, so feel free to utilize that. Let me see here. Tanya raised her hand. Let me see if I can find her comment. A lot of good mornings. Good morning, everyone. I don't see a message here or a Q&A from Tanya. So again, if you have any questions right now, click the Q&A icon. Otherwise, I am going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. And Ariane, yes, thank you. And I will connect to you because I definitely think that there are some trainings that you could do that are, you know, especially technology and lead generation focused. Ariane is fantastic with all things CRM related, Commissions Inc., KV Core, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I'm going to post this now onto our YouTube channel as well as onto our Facebook page, since obviously our stream did not work. And I am going to check back and answer any questions that any of you might have. I want to thank you so much for taking the time. And I want to close with one request. Number one, don't underestimate the situation, okay? So you don't want to be caught with your proverbial pants down when things really hit the fan. It's already pretty bad, but it will get a lot worse before it gets better. So this is truly unprecedented, okay? This is unprecedented, and you need to be prepared mentally, emotionally. Feed your mind, read some motivational books, watch some motivational videos, take care of your finances, take care of your health, and then number two, realize that this is going to be temporary, and what you do right now, and what you do in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks is going to determine how you come out at the end of it, okay? Life is neutral. Life really doesn't care. There's no favoritism. Life is not fair. It just is. And you are responsible for yourself, and only you. No one else can do it for you. You decide. Every second is the beginning of the rest of your life. You decide what you think about, what you focus on, whether you take certain action, whether you don't, and you have to remain in a positive frame of mind and focus on the opportunities in the future. Future pacing, what are you going to do a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And this crisis could be the best opportunity ever, you know. I wouldn't be here right now if we didn't have the meltdown in 2008, 2009, because I learned a lot from that. I lost a lot of money, personal money, not investors' money, my own money. But I learned from it, and I realized a lot of things. I pivoted into the short sale field and made a lot of money in the short sale arena, but also the experiences that I had really gave birth to Realty Partners and the idea of Realty Partners, and a lot of things I'm doing here right now. So keep those things in mind, take care of yourself, and focus on the opportunities. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. And I hope we'll meet again soon. Again, starting March 30th, we're going to announce it on all of our pages. We're going to roll out these trainings. And for those of you that are Realty Partners agents, we're going to have a virtual town hall meeting on Monday night at 7 p.m. We're going to go through all of these things as well. And I'll talk to you then. Take care.